Good evening. Welcome to Brass Tacks. I'm Zaka Jacob. After being MIA for more than 30 hours, the Jharkhand Chief Minister Hemant Soren finally showed up in Ranchi today. He chaired a meeting of his legislators where, incidentally, his wife, Kalpana Soren, was also present. Speculation is rife in Ranchi that Hemant Soren will give over the mantle of Chief Minister to his wife to handle in case he's arrested by the Enforcement Directorate. Now, he is due to appear before the ED tomorrow, and anything could happen. Remember, this is the 10th summons, not once or twice, but the 10th time that the ED has summoned the Jharkhand Chief Minister. Now, there are two sides to this story, ostensibly, as there is to every story. This is, like I said, not the first, second, or third. This is the 10th summons issued to Mr. Soren. He has skipped the previous 9 occasions. Why doesn't he just show up and answer the questions that the ED has to ask of him? The other side is, and this is the argument from the opposition, is this not yet another illustration of the egregious use of agencies like the Enforcement Directorate by the central government? But first, the story so far.
महात्मा गांधी जी के विचार हम सब मिलकर उनके पक्षों पर चलने का संकल्प है।
Apart from the 36 lakh rupees cash that has been recovered from his home, 2 BMW vehicles have been recovered. Now there are a lot of questions that needs to be answered by Hemant Soren at this point in time.
एक चुनी हुई सरकार, एक चुने हुए मुख्यमंत्री को इस तरह प्रताड़ित करना, खुद ईडी ने डेडलाइन दिया था 31 तारीख तक का, तब 29 तारीख को ये कार्रवाई की।
Mr. Modi and Amit Shah are misusing the ED. Very unfortunate to hear these things, that a tribal chief minister from the opposition parties had been insulted the way, misusing the ED and others.
देखिए, ये तो चल ही रहा है पूरे देश में। सभी जो बीजेपी के नीतियों का विरोध कर रहे हैं, सभी विपक्षी नेताओं को परेशान किया जा रहा है।
संवैधानिक पद पर बैठ करके संवैधानिक मर्यादा और कानून को तोड़ने का काम करेंगे तो स्वाभाविक है कि आपकी गाड़ी जब्त की जा सकती है।
All right, it's been a fascinating sequence of events in the last 24 to 48 hours. Let's take you through the drama that unfolded. It started on the 26th of January on Republic Day when Jharkhand Chief Minister Hemant Soren arrived in Delhi. Now, the next day, which is Saturday, the 27th, the Enforcement Directorate summoned Soren in one of the money laundering cases. 2 days later, on the 29th of January, which was yesterday, Soren then writes to the Enforcement Directorate saying he will record his statement on the 31st of January, which is tomorrow. The ED team then arrives at the Delhi residence of the Jharkhand Chief Minister yesterday, only to find that he's missing. They interrogate a few of the staff who are present there, they recover some documents, and of course they carry out extensive searches basis what they are calling fresh inputs in this case. The BJP claims that Hemant Soren left for Ranchi via road, giving a slip to the Enforcement Directorate agency sleuths. The JMM, on the other hand, is alleging that the BJP is using ED for political vendetta. Today, the 30th of January, the ED, in these multiple search operations that they were conducting at his Delhi residence, they claim that they have recovered 36 lakh rupees in cash, 2 BMWs and various documents that have been seized from Hemant Soren's Delhi residence. Parallelly, Section 144 was imposed near the Chief Minister's residence in Ranchi, at the Raj Bhavan, at the Ranchi ED office, expecting that he would arrive in Ranchi anytime soon. Hemant Soren then later in the afternoon at about 2 o'clock surfaces. He drives up from his residence to his party office where he has summoned top JMM leaders. He chairs a meeting of all his party MLAs Incidentally, his wife Kalpana Soren, who's not an MLA, who's not a leader, not an office bearer of the JMM, is also present in that meeting, which is leading to speculation that he might transfer power to her if in case the ED arrests him tomorrow after questioning. The BJP is claiming that Soren will transfer power to his wife, much like what Lalu Prasad did in the 90s to his wife Rabri Devi. This is tomorrow after this whole cat and mouse game that's been going on between Hemant Soren and the ED. The Chief Minister has said that he will appear before the Enforcement Directorate Ranchi office tomorrow in the afternoon. So, this entire drama has been playing itself out in Delhi, in Ranchi. But the critical question is this. A sitting Chief Minister has almost become, at least for the last 30 plus hours till he surfaced today in Ranchi, was almost like a fugitive running away from the law. Number two, this is the 10th summons being issued to Mr. Hemant Soren. Why does he not just show up and answer the questions of the Enforcement Directorate? And number three, is this yet another illustration that the BJP is using agencies like the ED only to settle political scores? Let me now go across to our guests who are joining us here in our studios. Shehzad Poonawala is National Spokesperson of the BJP. Supriya Srinath is also National Spokesperson of the Congress Party and Head of the Social Media Cell. Professor Naval Kishore, Spokesperson of the RJD. Mohan Karmakar is Spokesperson of the JMM. He'll be joining us in a moment. And Parimal Kumar is Spokesperson of the JDU. Supriya Srinath, let me start with you first. The ED says this is not the first, second or third. This is the 10th summons that's been issued to Mr. Soren. If he has nothing to hide in the land scam, in the mining scam, why does he just not show up and answer the questions that the ED has to ask of him?
Because ED seems to have questions only for India's opposition. There are 121 politicians on the ED's radar. 115 of them are parties that oppose the BJP. Is that a happy coincidence? Is that a scripted strategy? We don't know. But the ED, for all practical purposes, is no longer an agency of the government of India or an institution that was created to withhold fraud. ED, for all practical purposes, has become a frontal of the BJP. But truth be told, I think if you are a member of the Indian opposition today, and if you are fighting for the rights of people, if you are voicing concerns on the deteriorating condition as far as law and order and the Indian economy and the plight of our people is concerned, you should actually wear an ED raid like a badge of honor. It is no coincidence that the number of ED cases has gone up 4 times since 2014, and 95% of those cases are against India's opposition. 5,906 registered cases. Why is probe happening on only 25? I mean, those are very valid questions. And what happens when you join the BJP? And you look at the map of India, and I was just, I was just amused by how the map of India looks. The map of India in Jammu and Kashmir, the Abdullahs are under AD's radar. You come to Himachal, Mr. Veerbhadra Singh, the witch hunt was on against him. You come to Rajasthan, it's against Mr. Gehlot, Mr. Dotasra. You go to Chhattisgarh when we were in government, it was against Mr. Baghel. Go down south against Mr. Stalin and his family. You go to the east, it's against Mamata Banerjee, it's against Lalu Prasad Yadav. The reality is that anybody who is going to stand up there and oppose the BJP will be witch hunted by the Enforcement Directorate, which is now actually a frontal of the BJP.
So you're saying that the ED is a frontal of the BJP.
Because truth be told, they have not been able to convict one person. Not one person in the last 10 years. So the witch hunt is on, but no conviction.
Let Shehzad Poonawala respond. 120 plus politicians of all hues and stripes are being investigated by the ED, either arrested, raided, etc., questioned, of which 115 are from the opposition, including the JMM chief and the Jharkhand chief minister, Mr. Hemant Soren. The charge is you're using ED as a private investigating agency to settle political scores.
Zaka, I heard the spokesperson patiently, and since it's a 3 versus 1 panel, please be charitable to me. I want to begin by something.
ये शराब का मामला है, ये शिक्षा का मामला नहीं है. शराब की बात हो रही है, शिक्षा पर छुपने का काम मत कीजिए.
This is Supriya Srinath on Arvind Kejriwal's cases, including Manish Sisodia and Sanjay Singh, who are in jail, not because the BJP wants them there, but because of the courts, and the Congress party celebrated the action taken on them by the very same agencies. She spoke about Mamata Banerjee. Most of the cases against the TMC started by the Calcutta High Court, and Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, and I have a print of him, he has said that the Mamata Banerjee government is actually causing the cancer of corruption. This is the cancer of corruption case statement of Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, and he's a senior leader of the Congress in Lok Sabha. Apart from that, she said that we are targeting the opposition. So I just want to ask Supriya Srinath few questions firstly, that when JMM and RJD, both these parties, JMM got convicted first time in corruption in 1998 in the JMM bribery scandal which took place in 93. No Modi, no Amit Shah at that point of time. RJD leader Lalu Prasad went to jail in 1997, no Modi, no Amit Shah, and he got convicted first time in 2013. By the way, he's got subsequently convicted several times over in the last few years. Are the courts also against Lalu Prasad Yadav and doing vendetta politics? By the way, apart from Lalu Prasad Yadav, Pawan Mudi, you would remember, also got convicted recently by the courts. So if the agencies were doing a malified job, how come the courts are convicting such people and secondly, not granting them relief in this particular matter now, Zaka? JMM chief also went to, JMM CM also went to court trying for quashing of summons after not arriving for 9th summons. He did not get any relief. Tejasvi Yadav also went to Delhi High Court saying that I do not want to appear for summons, please quash the summons. Did not get any relief. In fact, look at their entire alliance. Just see, Shahjahan Sheikh, he will attack the ED and CBI. Then, on the other hand, Arvind Kejriwal, he will not appear and he will question the agencies. Thirdly, you have the model of JMM chief who goes under hiding, and his father had also gone under hiding when he was a union minister for 20-21 days. And then you have the likes of Lalu and Pawan Mudi who have been convicted. Supriya Srinath, forget everything else. Let's test your barometer of objectivity. Is Lalu Prasad a convicted criminal? Is Pawan Mudi a convicted criminal? Forget about ED cases, CBI cases, we'll differ on that. Even though the hypocrisy is that you have celebrated ED cases, CBI cases against Kejriwal, against Vijayan. By the way, you remember they've said Vijayan is corrupt, Vijayan's daughter is corrupt. Congress in Kerala says that.
So, Supriya Srinath, quick response, and then I'll go across to the other two guests who are waiting. Yeah. Is Lalu Prasad a convicted criminal according to you?
I'll just speak some names before you. Hemanto Biswa Sarma, Suvendu Adhikari, Narayan Rane, Gopal Kanda, Ajit Pawar, Praful Patel. These are big names. I have 1,000 other names. B.S. Yadurappa, G.J. Reddy, Raghubar Das, Shivraj Singh Chauhan, Lakshmikant Sharma, Suresh Soni. The names are endless. All of these guys were facing either CBI or ED probe. But because these guys joined the BJP, इन्होंने तो गंगा नहा ली, इनके खिलाफ केस नहीं होनागा. The problem is that you cannot be holier than thou when people who join you suddenly see summons evaporate, suddenly see no questioning, suddenly see no persecution of law. The reality is that Ajit Pawar on the night the Prime Minister was in Maharashtra was accused of a 70,000 crore scam. The very next morning you form a government with him. I don't see Ajit Pawar or Praful Patel being questioned anymore. They were being persecuted a lot. What about Hemanto Biswa Sarma? What about Suvendu Adhikari? What about Narayan Rane? You cannot have duplicitous, double, hypocritical standards being in the government.
Like I said, before I went to Supriya also, I said there are three other guests waiting. So quickly, please, yes.
Zaka, she said that once you do joining of BJP, it is like Ganga Nahai and you are forgiven. Let me give her specific examples. She quoted Hemanta Biswa Sarma and she said if you join BJP, you get clean chit. Today, as of now, in 2018, by the way, their entire ecosystem went against Hemanta Sarma to High Court of Guwahati. They have been able to prove nothing. If there is any standing case against Hemanta, she can use the entire 20 minutes left on the show and show me. So secondly, don't interrupt, Supriya. I did not interrupt you. Secondly, let me give you another example and a very definitive example. Mukul Roy joined the BJP and he became vice president. Even though he joined BJP, there was a case against him. It was continued. He was grilled by the CBI. Today, the same Mukul Roy is in TMC. Now call Mukul Roy in TMC corrupt. Supriya Srinath, and what about your PC against Arvind Kejriwal? What about the Delhi Congress's stand on Sanjay Singh and Manish Sisodia? Zaka, she's interrupting me.
Okay.
Zaka, please tell me 5 seconds.
Last 5 seconds.
Last 5 seconds,
it's been 12 minutes
last
since
5 seconds, I'll finish.
Yeah, 5 seconds. 5 seconds, I'm counting one.
Yeah, 5 seconds. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary said that TMC is the cancer of corruption. Yes or no, you agree or disagree?
Okay. Let me go across to Parimal Kumar of the JDU. Mr. Professor Naval Kishore of the RJD is also joining us. Do we have the JMM guest, Dheeraj Dubey? Okay, we'll go across to the JMM guest as and when we get him. But Professor Naval Kishore, the issue is, on the one hand, opposition can't say, oh, ED and CBI, etc. being used selectively. Yet at the same time, your leader, Mr. Lalu Prasad Yadav, was questioned for 10 hours yesterday. Your former Deputy Chief Minister, Mr. Tejashwi, was questioned for 8 hours today. Mr. Lalu Prasad Yadav has been convicted by courts of law in multiple cases. He has spent jail time. And then to argue that, oh no, ED is being used only against opposition. Well, the courts of this land are also watching. The courts of this land are also looking at the merits of the case and coming to a conclusion, as they have done in multiple cases against your leader.
Jaka, I think you must clarify that the conviction has been done by CBI court, and CBI court decisions cannot stand in the Supreme Court. It's not sure that it is going to stand. Many cases, many convictions which has been done by CBI court has been rejected by quashed by the Supreme Court. In Lalu Yadav case also, DA case was quashed by the Supreme Court. You know, in 2013, you missed to say that the same CBI court closed the rest 4 cases. It was opened by BJP government in after 2014. That's also a fact. And for the past 10 years, they have been using that one.
No, sir, but why did your leader go to jail? He was convicted by a court of law. That's why he had to go to jail.
Don't you want to cooperate with the law? But the fact is that the 4 cases in the same thing, it was opened by the BJP government, and therefore we cannot go to Supreme Court. Since we cannot go to Supreme Court,
sir, fodder scam में जो पहली conviction जो हुई थी, वो तो बीजेपी के पहले हुई थी. Fodder scam, there are multiple fodder scam cases. The first conviction happened before BJP came to power.
And first arrest also.
जी.
सुनिए तो पहले.
जी बोलिए.
एक अरे सुन लीजिए पहले. 4 केस बंद हुए थे, उसको खोलने का कारण बताएं, क्योंकि उसी केस में जो 4 बंद हुए थे, उसको आपने क्यों खोला? इसलिए खोला कि आप सुप्रीम कोर्ट नहीं जा सकते हैं. सुप्रीम कोर्ट में डीए केस में लालू जी गए और वहां से वो बरी हुए. ये तो सच है ना. जो केस आज जिस पर ईडी काम कर रही है, वो सीबीआई केस 2008 में बंद हुआ था ना. ये सच है ना. रेलवे ने कोई एफआईआर नहीं किया, ये भी सच है ना. और सुन लीजिए लास्ट पॉइंट, सुन लीजिए लास्ट पॉइंट. ये वही सरकार है जिसके खिलाफ में सुप्रीम कोर्ट की टिप्पणी है कि ईडी का जो डायरेक्टर है उसको इतना एक्सटेंशन देने का क्या मजबूरी है. 31 जुलाई लास्ट के बाद कहते हैं कि इनको एक्सटेंशन दीजिए, देशित में है. आपको ये भी बता दें कि अस्थाना और आलोक वर्मा का केस भी पूरा देश देखा कि शीर्ष एजेंसियों में भी ये किस तरह से उसका इस्तेमाल करते हैं.
परिमल कुमार, ठीक है प्रोफेसर साहब. परिमल कुमार ऑफ द जेडीयू इज जॉइनिंग अस. परिमल कुमार जी, कल तक नीतीश जी और आरजेडी लालू प्रसाद यादव जी सब गठबंधन में थे. संडे को वो सरकार गिरी, संडे को दूसरी सरकार आई. उसके तुरंत अगले दिन, द नेक्स्ट डे, लालू प्रसाद इज कॉल्ड फॉर क्वेश्चनिंग एंड द डे आफ्टर दैट तेजस्वी इज कॉल्ड फॉर क्वेश्चनिंग. यही तो ऑपोजिशन कह रही है. जब तक आपको बीजेपी की प्रोटेक्शन है, बीजेपी के अलायंस में है, कोई आपको टच नहीं करेंगे. लेकिन आप उसको छोड़ दें तो फिर आईटी, ईडी, सीबीआई सब आपके पीछे पड़ जाएंगे.
You may cite the example of our honorable leader Nitish Kumar. Oh, he served Bihar since last 18 years without any strain. There is no strain of crime, corruption and nepotism on him. Actually, if Congress and RJD is creating hue and cry on the legal process, judicial process, so it is very shameful act, I think. And as far as the question of Congress spokesman is concerned, she was giving several examples. So you cannot protect the corrupt people or criminals on the basis of giving someone's other example. So as far as the question of JDU is concerned, we have full faith in the constitutional norm, judicial system and important institutions which are working on behalf of the judiciary. If
so you're saying it's a coincidence.
And rule of
Sunday,
law should prevail.
Sir, you're saying it's just a coincidence.
Actually,
Sunday your government falls, Monday Lalu Prasad is questioned, Tuesday Tejaswi is questioned.
Already the cases were going on. It is a part of executive, particularly investigation. And actually you cannot question. As far as the question of JDU is concerned, JDU still remain very clear. Actually, the basis of good governance of Nitish Kumar is based on zero tolerance against crime, corruption and communalism. And we stand by this principle. That's why actually you see, we claim that India is largest democracy, but at the same time, one should know that crime, corruption, and communism and nepotism is the major cancers for the democratic setup.
Till Sunday, I don't know why you are not emphasizing on that. But let me come to the second part. You said nepotism. Let me ask Supriya Srinath this.
No, every time actually.
Yeah. No. First time in the last 17 months, Nitish ji talked about Parivarwad was when he went to Karpuri Thakur's village last week. Anyway, let me ask Supriya Srinath the second part of this debate.
What is the meaning of Parivarwad?
Sir, one second.
If any person want to particularly impose
give me 30 seconds. Let me ask Supriya Srinath that. Here's an example of Parivarwad, and this is what the BJP has been alleging. Today, Mr. Hemant Soren, after missing... Sir, एक second. बात तो सुन लीजिए. Supriya Srinath, after missing for 30 hours, Hemant Soren lands up in Ranchi. He holds a meeting of his MLAs. His wife, who is not an MLA, who is not an office bearer of the JMM, is also sitting in that meeting. Then there is a meeting of the alliance partners, including your party, the CPIML, who's in alliance, RJD, etc. Even in that meeting, she's sitting in. She's neither a member of, she's neither an MLA of the JMM, nor is she an office bearer of the JMM. The speculation is, and in fact the BJP is saying this openly, that in the event that Mr. Hemant Soren gets arrested by the ED, the plan is to transfer power to his wife, Kalpana Soren, just like Lalu Prasad did in the 90s. When he was arrested in the Ford scam, he transferred power to his wife, Rabdi Devi. This is, according to the BJP, what they've been saying all along, Parivarwad.
Great. Very good question. I will answer that in just a bit. And I will answer that because I don't run away from questions, but I want to place some facts on the table. You really want to go after swindlers? I have a list here. Vijay Mallya escaped from right under your nose. You haven't been able to extradite him. Money swindled 7,505 crore.
Why you are protecting Parivarwad? Why through giving such type of example?
Over 7,000 crore rupees swindled.
Supriya, let's answer the question. No, you've already given the list of swindlers.
No, I will. I'm sorry. This is not how it's going to be that I'm talking. Suddenly somebody starts talking in the middle and you ask me to shut up. Not going to happen. Vijay Mallya fled from under your nose. 7,500 crore rupees swindled. Mehul Bhai, Modi ji ke Mehul
Bhai. Why you are giving example? You are protecting Parivarwad.
Lalit Modi, Nirav Modi, Nitin Sandesara, Chetan Sandesara, Ritesh Mehta, Rajiv Goyal, Alka Goyal, Ashish Joshpura. Who are these people? And why has the government of India not been able to stop them from fleeing the country after swindling money of taxpayers and banks? And why have they not been able to get back so much money and so much for their growth? That's point number one.
Please answer the question I asked.
Which enforcement directorate are we talking about? For which the Supreme Court said that the extension of the ED director is illegal? He still occupies office. Does the government have no other officers? Is the question that the Supreme Court of India asked. And I have one more point here.
I've asked you a question. Let's please come to that. Please come to that.
Just for the benefit of the viewers. I'm coming to that. Sanjay Patil, a leader of the BJP, jokes and says, "Bhaiya, मैंने तो BJP join कर लिया, अब मेरे पीछे ED नहीं आएगी."
Can I now answer?
One of their own is exposing that publicly. I don't have to say anything. As far as the question that you asked me is concerned,
in the opinion of Congress's spokesman,
so Parimal ji, एक second, उनको बात
I do believe JMM won the mandate of the people. I do believe this is a decision that the JMM party will take. It's not a decision for me to take. It's not a decision for any ally to take. I think it's a decision that will be taken by Hemant Soren and his party, and I think his party representative is here. It is well within his right to answer that question, not mine. But I ask, where is Vijay Mallya? Where is Narendra Modi?
Fine, you made that point. You've made that point. They are free to choose whoever they want to make as chief minister. They are the single largest party.
Absolutely, Zaka. They have the right. But on your screen, there are 4 windows. On 2 windows are people who don't push their son as a right of birth. And there are 2 parties which push their sons and daughters as birthright, and therefore Supriya is the worst person to ask. She came into Congress after her father passed away. So let me, please now, Zaka, this is not fair. Please let me continue. Please let me continue. This is not fair. Zaka, this is not fair. This is not fair. This is not fair. This is not fair. This is not fair.
Shehzad on screen. Professor Sahab, मैं आता हूँ ना.
This is not fair.
I will come to you.
This is not fair.
Professor Nawal ki
doesn't
Shahzad
answer
ji,
a question.
मैं आता हूँ
Doesn't. Okay,
आपके
now
पास.
let me.
Shehzad, yeah.
The problem is you asking Supriya about this is like asking the devil to quote the scriptures. She herself is a product of dynasty and nepotism. Her father was a Lok Sabha MP from Congress, and today she is in the Congress getting a ticket from the same seat. So who are you asking? Now forget that. I don't want to get into personal issues. Let me address one after the other, three issues. She said list of swindlers. There was one swindler she used to talk about allegedly, Mr. Adani. Adani ka 20,000 crore ka ghotala. He went and invested in Tamil Nadu and in Telangana. Now, is he a swindler or not a swindler? The day they asked this question to Supriya, Chidambaram pushed the mic to Supriya and she had no answers. I have the video, I don't want to play it out. Secondly, now Mr. Naval Kishore, you have quoted wrongly. First time Laluji went to jail, 97, we were not in power. Also, come on, Zaka, this is not done. We are on your channel and your show.
एक सेकंड रुकिए
debating in this style.
मैं आता हूँ आपके पास मैं आपको पूर्ण अवसर देता हूँ आप एक सेकंड रुक जाइए आप पूछ लीजिए लेकिन 30 सेकंड तो दे दीजिए उनको बात करने के लिए
This is not the way to have the debate.
आप पढ़े लिखे आदमी हो एक 30
seconds. No, Zaka, they won't cooperate. They will waste the time. The viewers will get disturbed. Please let my statement get over.
Yes, Shehzad, go on. Yeah. Shehzad, go on.
He said that we put the cases and we opened the cases. Wrong. 97 he went to jail. It was a UF government if I'm not mistaken. And 2013 was the first conviction. And no conviction of Lalu Prasad has been stated. But since he's quoting Supreme Court's tippanis, Supreme Court made a tippani cage parrot for CBI in the UPA government. And Supreme Court, when 14 parties approached it with the fact that, oh, ED is being malifiedly used, it said nothing doing. There's nothing that we find unbecoming and therefore go back. And secondly, let me just complete one more thing. Supriya Shinet again made a long statement. She did not answer your dynasty question for obvious reasons. But Supriya, I want to show you one question and statement. Please tell me if he's correct or wrong.
कर दो एसीबी अगर तुमसे जांच नहीं होती तो जांच करानी है सोनिया गांधी को गिरफ्तार करो 2 दिन उसका इंटेरोगेशन.
Now Supriya, my question is, was Arvind Kejriwal lying then, or is Arvind Kejriwal compromised and has done a U-turn on his stand? Because Arvind Kejriwal was saying that the agency should investigate Sonia Gandhi. By the way, Sonia Gandhi has not got relief in National Herald case. So please answer that. Naval Kishore, you are a professor, but you behave like the most rowdy student. And therefore, you have no right to intervene, but I will also intervene now when you speak.
अब पूछिए प्रोफेसर साहब, क्या पूछना है आपको? पूछिए.
मैं आपको सीधा एक सवाल पूछता हूं, उनसे पूछ लीजिए कि अमित शाह के बेटे को जो फायदा मिल रहा है क्या उसके लिए एलिजिबल हैं? अगर क्वालिफिकेशन है तो बता दें. मुख्यमंत्री कौन बनेगा कौन नहीं बनेगा?
नवल जी आपको और कुछ पूछना है पूछ लीजिए, एक साथ पूछ लीजिए वो जवाब देंगे.
परिमल जी प्लीज आई रिक्वेस्ट टू लेट मी आंसर.
परिमल जी एक सेकंड.
मैं आपको
बोलिए प्रोफेसर साहब बोलिए.
बता दे रहा हूँ.
बोलिए. हाँ और कुछ पूछना है तो पूछ लीजिए. हाँ
मुख्यमंत्री कौन बनेगा कौन नहीं बनेगा विधायक दल तय करता है. यहाँ पर तो 2 आदमी तय करता है. खट्टर को किसने बनाया, योगी को किसने बनाया, अभी 3 जो राजस्थान छत्तीसगढ़ में बनाया उसको किसने बनाया. ये जो बनाने वाले लोग हैं वो लोग अपना प्लांट करते हैं कि उनकी अधीनता स्वीकार करें. यहाँ पे तो लेजिस्लेटिव पार्टी तय करती है. आप बार बार बोलते हो
कम से कम उनके परिवार के लोग तो नहीं है. ये जो 3 प्रदेशों में मुख्यमंत्री चुने गए हैं कम से कम वो तो रिश्तेदार तो थोड़ी रिश्तेदार नहीं है ना.
कौन है?
Anyway, Shehzad, it's not like there's no Parivarwad in your party.
Zaka, I heard the question. I did not interrupt.
One second, Supriya. One at a time, please. One at a time. Supriya, I'll come to you.
That is legal. परिवार is legal. जिनको उठा के वो रखते हैं वो
ठीक है, legal है.
I can't make sense. The audience don't understand how 10 people speak on me.
You also have Parivarwad in your party. Please respond. Yeah.
See, Zaka, problem is that either they'll interrupt or filibuster. Now let me answer. He said about Amit Shah's son. Forget my answer. I'm to BJP wala, I'll support. I'll give you the answer of Rajiv Shukla. Who's Rajiv Shukla? Congress MP. Rajiv Shukla was asked by Samdesh Bhatia in his interview called Scripted Unfiltered Scripted, some interview, that what do you think about Jai Shah getting the post of secretary? Rajiv Shukla, and I quote, he has been elected to this position, and by the way, this is not controlled by Government of India, and therefore to say Parivarwad here is wrong. Now I give you the example of Parivarwad. After Lalu, Tejaswi, after Tejaswi, Tejaswi's son. After Mulayam, Akhilesh, after Akhilesh's child. After Stalin, Stalin's son Udaynidhi, Udaynidhi ke baad uska beta. This is the way the Parivarvad is done. After Farooq Abdullah, it is Omar Abdullah, and after Omar Abdullah, their son. Now tell me, in the last 20-25 years, has anybody's son or daughter become BJP president or BJP prime minister? No. This is the difference between my party and between dynastic parties that are on the screen.
Final word, Supriya. I think we're getting diverted by the Parivarvad issue as well. The central issue is allegations of corruption against a sitting chief minister, and he has skipped not one, not two, but 10 summons. He is appearing for questioning tomorrow, and he's laying the ground for the eventuality of his arrest. He's transferring or planning to transfer power to one of his own family members. That is the moot issue.
No, the moot issue is that why should a sitting chief minister be scared by the thought of being arrested? That is the terrorism that ED has come to.
What?
That's the kind of tax terror that this country faces with income tax rates. This picture that I am showing you is neither a picture of corruption and nor is it a picture of Parivarvad. What is this picture? Within hours of being this picture shot, just 12 hours before, this man was being accused of a 70,000 crore scam by none other than Mr. Modi himself. I will go back to making the moot point that I was making. From Nirav Modi to Vijay Mallya to Mehul Choksi to the Sandesars to the Ritesh Jain, everybody you talk about. Why are they not being brought back into this country to face the might of the Indian law? They are not being brought back because the government is hand in glove with all of these fugitives. And I have one point to make as a woman.
How long will she go on one point?
Last point. Flattered by the attention that Shehzad Poonawala you give me.
I'm not giving you attention because of you. You are the spokesperson of Congress, therefore you're getting my response. You're not worthy of my attention. Let's get it clear, Supriya, you're not worthy of my attention. You're not worthy of anybody's attention. You got my response.
Stop doing that. Don't make me say stuff.
You got my response. You're not worthy of my attention. Let's get that clear. Zaka,
go ahead and you say what you want to.
Okay.
But the reality is
Zaka, let me come in.
10 seconds, Shehzad. I have to wrap up. I have to go to the next debate.
If I start talking about the fact that I'm a self-made person, you can keep talking about my dead father.
For 5 minutes.
It shows your character. Every time you mention my dead father, it shows your character.
I'm giving the closing comment. 10 seconds. Shehzad, I want to wrap up the debate after this. Yes.
Not me. That's the reality.
Only Shehzad on screen. 10 seconds. Yeah. Shehzad.
Supriya Shinath, you're not worthy of my
and what
attention.
Is this nonsense
Boss,
show
what the hell is this, Zaka? I listened to her bullshit for 10 minutes.
Come on,
she keeps going on. It's my time to speak. She interrupts me.
No, let me
speak. It's my time to speak. This is my time. It's my time to speak.
Shehzad.
Then you put him back. What show is this? You want to speak about my dead father? You go ahead and speak about it. But that shows the character that you have. That shows the hawker that you are. That shows the...
10 seconds. I'm wrapping up. 10 seconds.
Supriya Shinath, you're not worthy of my attention. Leave that aside. You are only worthy of a response that you get because of the hypocrisy you show. You were saying that Adani was corrupt all day, all night. When this picture was shown to you, the list of swindlers you keep talking about, now you have no response on Adani, and forget that. Supriya Shinath, only thing I've asked you is that please tell me whether today Lalu Prasad Yadav is convicted and corrupt. You have no answer. You said the CM is terrorized. So is that also applicable to Kejriwal? Because the Delhi Congress unit and you yourself did a press conference against Kejriwal saying that Kejriwal, you're corrupt. So it's not the terror of ED and agencies, it is the actions of corruption. And by the way, 351 crores was recovered from Dheeraj Sahu's house. What did you say about that? And Supriya Shinath, if you use language like this, I can give it back to you. Only thing is that I'm not at your level.
I have to wrap up. Thank you very much. I'm sorry it got a little heated in parts, but let's see how this story plays out. I think tomorrow is going to be an important day in Ranchi. The Chief Minister is supposed to go for questioning before the Enforcement Directorate. Whether or not what precipitative action happens thereafter, if at all some precipitative action happens, we don't know. We'll wait and see how that story plays out in Ranchi and what may that mean for the power dynamics for the current government. It's a coalition government, JMM Congress, RJD and CPI-ML. Let's now move on to the other focus story. In Maldives, of course, the president there, Mohamed Muizzu, is facing an impeachment vote, which is being brought forth by the two main opposition parties, the MDP and the Democrats. Now, this is following clashes, physical brawl that erupted in the Maldivian parliament on Sunday. The numbers in the current parliament, which is an outgoing parliament, the elections are due in mid-March, the numbers are stacked up against Mohamed Muizzu. The fight broke out in Parliament between pro-government MPs and anti-government MPs, the opposition lawmakers. There were specific differences over the parliamentary approval for certain members of Mr. Muizzu's cabinet. The main opposition, the MDP, decided to withhold its approval for 4 critical cabinet appointments, and that led to a brawl. as a result of which the MDP and the Democrats decided to bring in an impeachment motion against the sitting president. Remember, the MDP and the Democrats have a majority. They have the requisite signatures. 56 is what you need in the 87-member House, 2/3, to bring in an impeachment motion. The MDP is led by former President Ibrahim Soli. His party has 43 members. The Democrats have 13. It's led by another former president, Mohammad Nasheed. The Muizu-led alliance, in contrast, has just 19 members. Here's a deep dive on the situation in the island nation and how the politics there over the next few weeks in the run-up to the March 17th parliamentary election, how that may have ramifications for India and for other neighboring nations of the Maldives. The Maldives government is witnessing chaos as the opposition threatens to impeach President Mohammad Muizu. Meanwhile, the Maldives coalition government, including Progressive Party of Maldives, the PPM, and the People's National Congress, the PNC, has said that they will not allow the efforts to remove President Muizu to proceed through parliament. The parliament witnessed dramatic clashes over the weekend between the ruling and opposition party members. The opposition party in the Maldives, the Maldivian Democratic Party, the MDP, which also holds a majority in the parliament or the Majlis, is planning to submit a motion to impeach Mohammad Muizu. The development in the Maldives parliament comes a day after clashes broke out, this happened on Sunday, inside the Majlis between pro-government MPs and opposition lawmakers. The differences are regarding the approval of 4 new members in the president's new cabinet. Further, on Monday, the Maldives parliament approved just 1 out of these 4 members in President Mohammad Muizu's cabinet, against whom the main opposition, the MDP, has issued a 3-line whip. After the MDP and its alliance partner, the Democrats, decided to withhold the parliamentary approval for these 4 new cabinet members ahead of the parliamentary voting, pro-government MPs then initiated a counter-protest. Both sides then ended up obstructing the entire sitting of parliament. The decision to submit an impeachment motion was taken unanimously in the Maldives opposition grouping. Notably, a minimum of 53 votes are required within parliament to remove a sitting president. The Maldives parliament, which currently has 87 members, has recently amended its standing orders to make it easier to submit an impeachment motion. The MDP and the Democrats, who are the 2 big opposition parties, together they have 56 MPs between them. 43 MPs are from the MDP and 13 from the Democrats. The gathering of signatures for an impeachment motion against the Maldives president, Muizu, comes a day after the PPM-PNC coalition government, which is running Maldives right now, with the endorsement of 23 lawmakers, they submitted a no-confidence motion against Speaker Muhammad Aslam and Deputy Speaker Ahmed Salim. The MDP, which has 43 seats in the 80-member Majlis, it appears to have joined forces with the Democrats, which was formed by its breakaway faction. This was following former President Mohammad Nasheed's fallout with the President Ibrahim Soli, which happened last year. In an indication that both these parties, MDP and the Democrats, are finding common cause, they recently issued a joint statement slamming President Muizu for alienating the longest-standing ally of the Maldives, that is India. Soon after taking oath as the president of Maldives on the 17th of November last year, Mohammad Muizu, who is regarded as a pro-China leader, formally requested India to withdraw its military personnel from his country. His justification was that the Maldivian people had given him a strong mandate to make this request to Delhi. This coincided with a showdown between Malé and Delhi, in the wake of what was considered derogatory remarks made by some Maldivian ministers against Prime Minister Narendra Modi. There was a shrill boycott Maldives campaign that happened on Indian social media. And then subsequent to that, President Muizzu's office issued a March 15th deadline to Delhi for the removal of Indian troops. There are currently about 80-odd Indian troops in the islands who are mainly there to service a Dornier aircraft and 2 advanced light helicopters, both of which have been lent by Delhi to Malé. On what prompted this move for an impeachment motion against the sitting president, and that too within 3 months of him coming to office, the opposition has pointed out to a primary and singular cause. The opposition in the Maldives alleges that President Muizzu is putting the entire Indian Ocean region in danger with his policies, and he's not letting the parliament function properly. The opposition accuses the president of using money power and the backing of the military to crush opposition dissent in the Maldivian polity. It also happened when Maldives gave permission to a Chinese research vessel to dock in Malé for a hydrographic survey. India has accused this of being a Chinese spy ship. Muizzu is trying to keep up the anti-India, pro-China political plank alive for the upcoming parliamentary elections. He's facing increasing pressure from his former boss, former President Abdullah Yameen, and his loyalists. Maldives made the first pro-China tilt in Yameen's presidency between 2013 and 2018. Muizzu is trying to be further on the right of Yameen in the Maldivian polity before he has to go to the people for the Majlis election in mid-March. Parliamentary elections are scheduled for March 17th, and President Muizzu has a crucial test ahead. Without adequate parliamentary numbers, he will not be able to pass legislation or implement his policies. He's as good as a lame duck president until he gets parliamentary majority. Muizzu's position has further weakened politically after his former boss, President Yameen, split from the ruling party and he formed his own party, reflecting a rather fragmented Maldivian polity. Now there are 2 Maldivian parties who are competing on who can be more pro-China and more anti-India. And this is coming just a few weeks before the parliamentary elections. The MDP, the main opposition party's parliamentary primaries, are scheduled to be held on the 3rd of February, that's coming week. The main opposition party is expected to decide the date on which they will submit this impeachment motion in Parliament against President Muizzu once the primaries in their party are over. The overwhelming sentiment among the pro-India polity in the islands is this, that we cannot change our geography, we cannot bring China closer to us. India is our closest neighbor, our friend and family. Whether it's about sourcing food or medicines, the Maldives cannot do without India. And the reason why Maldives lives in relative peace is because of India's neighborhood first policy. That is a sentiment that Muizzu doesn't necessarily share, but that may end up costing him politically soon. All right, let's now go across to 2 guests who are joining us to try and explain this. You saw that deep dive laying out the lay of the land, as it were, as to why politically Muizzu is facing the music. I'm now joined by Jihan Mahmood. She's a Maldivian MP belonging to the opposition Maldivian Democratic Party, and Vivek Kajru is former secretary in the MEA. Jihan Mahmood, the question that's being asked by Muizzu supporters, his political friends and allies is, why are you bringing this impeachment motion with barely a month and a half left for parliamentary elections? Are you trying to score a political point, or has it got to do with the recent anti-India rhetoric that him and his party members have been indulging in?
Thank you. From the events of yesterday, and the day before, it is very clear that the current government, highly charged by the powers they have with the military and the law enforcement, have undermined the parliament and therefore undermined the constitutional principle of separation of powers. What happened on Sunday is quite dangerous. The parliament chambers were locked before the sitting for the approval of the cabinet was scheduled to take place. And the voting system was damaged by the pro-government MPs. The sound system of the parliament was completely destroyed by these MPs. All these were taking place inside locked chambers that they locked themselves.
Okay.
And they had hijacked the speakers, speaker and the parliament secretariat chair, and then make sure that the parliament was hijacked on Sunday, physically and forcefully hijacked on Sunday. By the time we, the opposition and the other MPs, arrived for the sitting for the approval of the ministers. Now, it is a given that constitutionally it is the right of the president to appoint his cabinet.
Yes.
But it is also the prerogative of the constitutional prerogative of the parliament to give approval to the cabinet. Just because the parliament, of course, with the NDP and Democratic Coalition together holding the majority, NDP holding the majority of the parliament, and decided that we are not in agreement with the four proposed ministers out of four. That is the Attorney General, the person proposed for the ministership of the Housing Ministry, the Economic Ministry, and as well as the Islamic Ministry. These four ministers were not to be approved by the opposition. And this is out of 22 names, 22 propositions put forth by the government for cabinet. So in no way were we at all trying to undermine the constitutional right or power of the president to appoint his cabinet. We were just saying no to 4 out of 22.
Let me ask.
Just because,
Let me ask Vivek Kaju, what may this mean for India? Now, a lot of this is domestic politics within the Maldives. You have parliamentary elections coming up in mid-March. Clearly, Muizzu is positioning himself and his party to the right of Abdullah Yameen, more pro-China and more anti-India, because he's got this election coming up. How does India see this, and how does India play this? Because India also has to protect its own interests, but at the same time, this is internal Maldivian politics, so you can't be seen as interfering in it either.
I think, Jaka, you are absolutely right. India should not be seen as intervening, or interfering in Maldivian domestic politics. Now, I've argued recently that India will naturally keep an eye on what is happening in the neighborhood. That is part of the diplomatic process, part of the security process of any country. And the Chinese have been very aggressive over the last decade, especially with India's in India's immediate neighborhood. So naturally, India has to keep an eye on what the Chinese are doing. My own impression is that the best course for India is to tell its neighbors that, look, your internal politics are your concern. We have no favorites. We will not intervene in your processes. Second, that India's economic assistance and your participation in India's progress is welcome. But third, and most importantly, that India, like any other major country, has security interests. And what India cannot and will not allow is for any country in the neighborhood to become a base for anti-India activity. India can't allow its security to be threatened. We've had the example of Pakistan to the west. into the west of India, where this process has been going on for decades now. We can't actually allow this process to take place in the to the south of India or to the east of India, etc. So you can do, these countries can do what they like internally. They can have their independent foreign policy, but they've got to be mindful of India's concerns in the security aspect. And that is what any major country anywhere in the world expects of its neighbors.
Jihan Mahmood, how, for your party, the MDP, which is avowedly pro-India, and Ibrahim Soli, the former president, has been very, very pro-India, how easy or difficult is it with the upcoming parliamentary elections when you have two major political parties trying to outcompete each other on who can be more anti-India and more pro-China, and at the same time the president, the current president, also saying that he came to power, the people of Maldives voted him to power because of the India Out campaign, and he says he's got the mandate to ask for Indian troops to leave the Maldives. So how easy or difficult is your position, politically speaking, seen as a pro-India party?
Well, to be very honest, us MPs, we interact with the people, with the public on a daily basis. Our elections and the votes we get, and how easy or difficult it is for us to maintain our positions as political parties in the country depend upon people's sentiments. And largely, Maldivians are aware and Maldivians are concerned about the fact that we might be in a position currently where we're losing our closest ally, our dearest long-standing friend, that is India, who's been helping us out through every economic, social, and other avenues of running and maintaining decorum, and as well as basic survival of this country. The food that we have available in this country is largely imported from India. Maldivians go to India for medical purposes, which are not available here in the Maldives. Our basic needs are met with the support of India, and this has been a symbiotic relationship with us supporting in India in a stable geopolitical situation in this region. And
all right.
so,
if you're saying that this is a sentiment that's prevalent amongst Maldivian people, I guess some of that sentiment may be reflected when the polls happen for the Majlis. We'll leave it at that. Thank you very much. I'm completely out of time. Thank you very much to Mr. Kaju and also to the MDP Maldivian Member of Parliament, Jihan Mahmood. That's a wrap. I'll catch you again tomorrow night, same time. Good night. Moot point being that for Mamata Banerjee, this is cold arithmetic. This is cold election arithmetic. She doesn't stand to gain as much from allying with the left and the Congress as they stand to gain by allying with the TMC. The TMC is going to fight on its own. Then where is the India alliance?
The Vigraha, which is going to be there now as Ramlala Virajman, what did you feel?
I had tears in my eyes. I cried, to be very honest. I don't know why. It was there. Jai Shri Ram.
All the shops here in this 2-kilometer long road now have the same consistent facade to give this entire area a facelift. Some are saying that even for an orator like Narendra Modi, it was one of his best speeches.
This is a Nyaya Yatra, isn't it? It's about high principles of upholding justice, delivering justice and upholding the law. But the person in the middle of your frames stands accused today, sir, of breaking the law.
Presented by
we will respond.
The White House on Monday said U.S. President Joe Biden was weighing his options after the drone attack in Jordan by Iran-backed militants that killed 3 U.S. service members and wounded dozens more. Here's White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby.
We do not seek another war. We do not seek to escalate. But we will absolutely do what is required to protect ourselves, to continue that mission, and to respond appropriately to these attacks.
Earlier in the day, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin spoke on the issue as well.
The President and I will not tolerate attack on U.S. forces, and we will take all necessary actions to defend the U.S. and our troops.
Later, Pentagon spokesperson Sabrina Singh identified the soldiers killed in Sunday's attack, the youngest victim just 23 years old.
The names of those soldiers who lost their lives were Sergeant William Rivers, Specialist Kennedy Sanders, and Specialist Breonna Moffett. Right now, we assess that there are more than 40 that have been injured. We do expect that number to continue to fluctuate as our service members, as you know, with TBI, report symptoms later on, so that number could continue to grow.
The attack put new political pressure on Biden to deal a blow directly against Iran, a step he has been reluctant to take out of fear of igniting a broader war. Sunday's strike marks the first deadly attack against U.S. troops since the Israel-Hamas war erupted in October. The United States is trying to determine how the suicide drone managed to evade the base's defenses.
What I can definitely say is that the strikes that took place on U.S. service members represent a fundamental change in the rules of engagement.
Allison McManus, the managing director of the Department of National Security at the Center of American Progress, says she anticipates a response to the drone attack quite soon.
Iran has taken advantage, frankly, of the current moment of conflict to do what Iran has been doing for many, many years, which is to disrupt, to target the U.S. and partners in a variety of ways, mostly through the efforts of its proxy militias. So again, what Iran is doing is testing where that line is, how much it can get away with in targeting U.S. interests, whether those are military interests or economic interests, and really testing the U.S. in terms of its response.
U.S. troops have been attacked over 150 times in Iraq, Syria, and Jordan, as well as on warships in the Red Sea, where Houthi fighters in Yemen have been firing drones and missiles at them.
Well, good morning, everybody. Let me start with my outrage and sorrow for the death of 3 brave U.S. troops in Jordan and for the other troops who were wounded. The President and I will not tolerate attack on U.S. forces, and we will take all necessary actions to defend the U.S. and our troops. Now, at this important time, I'm glad to be back at the Pentagon. I feel good and am recovering well, but still recovering. And I appreciate all the good wishes that I've received thus far.
Hello, Namaskar. This is First Post and you're watching Vantage with me, Palki Sharma. We begin tonight with the story of a rescue mission. The Indian Navy has pulled it off, and guess who they've rescued? 19 Pakistanis from being hijacked by pirates. It's a lesson in contrast and professionalism. While Pakistani forces support terror groups that take Indian lives, Indian troops rescue innocent civilians even if they're Pakistani. We'll bring you the full story. And in New Delhi, it's budget week. The interim budget will be presented in 2 days from now, and the government has set some stiff targets. India's